Have you ever sat alone in a crowded restaurant and felt perfectly at peace, while everyone else looked at you with pity? Have you ever walked through a busy street and felt like an observer from another dimension, completely detached from the chaos around you? If you have gone through long periods of your life without a close circle of friends, society often tries to tell you that something is wrong. They tell you that you are antisocial. They tell you that you are broken. They might even whisper that you are a failure at human connection. But I am here to tell you the truth that most people are too afraid to admit. Psychology says that people who have few or no friends are often not broken at all. In fact, they are often the most intellectually and emotionally advanced individuals in the room. If you are listening to this and you often find yourself alone, it is likely that your brain operates on a frequency that most people simply cannot tune into. You're not isolated because you lack social skills. You are isolated because you possess a rare set of personality traits that act as a filter. This filter protects you from the noise, the drama, and the shallowness of the modern world. Today, we are going to dive deep into the 5 rare traits of the elite loner. By the end of this video, you will no longer look at your solitude as a curse. You will recognize it for what it truly is. It is a sign of a high-functioning mind. Let's begin with the first trait, which is perhaps the most defining characteristic of your personality. You have an absolute zero tolerance for inauthenticity. If you have few friends, it is almost certainly because you have a built-in lie detector in your brain. Most people move through the world wearing masks. They smile when they are angry. They agree when they disagree. They pretend to like people they actually despise, just to keep the peace. For the average person, this social game is normal. It is just how the world works. But for you, witnessing this behavior is physically painful. When you are in the presence of someone who is being fake, your body reacts before your mind even processes it. You might feel a tightness in your chest. You might feel a sudden drain of energy. You might feel an overwhelming urge to simply walk away. Research in psychology suggests that individuals with high emotional intelligence are hyper-aware of micro-expressions and tone of voice. You can hear the insincerity in a compliment. You can see the manipulation behind a smile. Because you see the truth so clearly, you cannot participate in the lie. You would rather sit in complete silence than engage in a conversation that is performing for an audience. This inevitably shrinks your social circle. Because let's be honest, the world is full of actors, and you are looking for real humans. You are not antisocial. You are simply pro-truth. You are preserving your energy for connections that are genuine, raw, and real. And until you find that, you are perfectly content being on your own. This leads us directly to the second trait that sets you apart from the crowd. You value depth over quantity in a way that terrifies the average person. We live in a culture that is obsessed with numbers. How many followers do you have? How many friends came to your birthday party? How many contacts are in your phone? Society teaches us that more is always better, but your brain is wired differently. You understand a fundamental law of the universe that most people ignore. Depth and width are often enemies. You cannot dig a deep well if you are busy digging 1,000 shallow holes. People with no friends are often not avoiding people. They are avoiding surface-level interactions. To you, small talk is not just boring, it is excruciating. Conversations about the weather, celebrity gossip, or what someone bought at the mall feel like a waste of your limited time on this earth. Your mind craves substance. You want to talk about the nature of consciousness. You want to discuss why we are here, what happens after we die, and what drives human behavior. You want to explore the darkest corners of psychology and the brightest heights of philosophy. But finding people who can swim in these deep waters with you is incredibly rare. Most people are comfortable splashing around in the shallow end of the pool. When you try to take the conversation deeper, they look at you like you are intense or weird. So you make a choice that requires immense strength. You choose solitude over superficiality. You realize that it is better to be alone with your own complex thoughts than to be surrounded by people who only want to discuss the mundane. This is not arrogance. It is a recognition of your own needs. Your soul needs nourishment, and shallow conversations are like junk food for your brain. You're starving for something real, and you refuse to eat plastic fruit just because everyone else is doing it. Now, let's discuss the third trait, which explains why you often feel physically exhausted after social events. You have a high sensitivity nervous system that requires extensive recovery time. In psychology, this is often linked to being a highly sensitive person, or HSP. But do not mistake sensitivity for weakness. It is actually a form of high performance processing. Imagine your brain is a supercomputer. While the average brain takes in a moderate amount of data during a conversation, your brain is absorbing everything. You are processing the words being spoken. You are analyzing the body language. You are picking up on the emotional energy in the room. You are noticing the flickering light in the corner and the background music. You are processing gigabytes of sensory data every single second. This is why you are so insightful. But it is also why your battery drains faster than others. Extroverts gain energy from social stimulation because their brains do not process the environment as deeply. For them, a party is a recharge. For you, a party is a massive expenditure of resources. If you have few friends, it is often because you have unconsciously built a lifestyle that protects your energy. You know that if you say yes to every invitation, you will burn out. You know that after a night of socializing, you might need 2 days of silence to feel like yourself again. People who do not understand this biology will call you distant. They will say you are flaky or that you don't like them. But the truth is, you are simply practicing energy economics. You treat your social energy like a limited currency, and you are very careful about where you spend it. You are not avoiding people because you hate them. You are avoiding the exhaustion that comes with interacting with them. You have learned that your peace of mind is more valuable than your social calendar, and that is a sign of maturity, not dysfunction. This brings us to the fourth trait, which is perhaps the most powerful of all. You possess an extreme level of independence and low social dependency. Have you ever noticed how terrified most people are of doing things alone? Most people cannot go to the movies alone. They cannot eat at a restaurant alone. They cannot even sit in their own living room without the television on, because silence terrifies them. They need constant external validation to feel like they exist. If nobody sees it, did it even happen? If nobody likes the photo, am I even beautiful? You, on the other hand, have freed yourself from this matrix. You have developed the rare ability to validate yourself. You do not need a clapping audience to know you are doing a good job. You do not need a partner to feel complete. You have cultivated a rich inner world that is often more interesting than the external world. You have hobbies, passions, and curiosities that keep you endlessly entertained. You can spend hours reading, writing, building, or simply thinking and never feel bored. This self-sufficiency makes you dangerous to the status quo. Society relies on people being insecure. The economy relies on people buying things to impress others. When you don't need their validation, you don't need their products, and you don't need their approval. This makes you uncontrollable, and it also makes you intimidating to others. People are often drawn to those who need them. There is a certain comfort in knowing that your friend relies on you. But when people look at you, they see someone who is complete on their own. They sense that you want them, but you do not need them. And for many insecure people, that is a terrifying dynamic. They withdraw because they know they cannot manipulate you with guilt or social pressure. So, if you look around and see few friends, realize that it is because you are standing on your own 2 feet. You're not using people as crutches. You're not using relationships as a distraction from yourself. You have faced yourself in the mirror, and you have learned to like what you see. That is a victory that most people will spend their entire lives chasing and never achieving. Finally, we must address the fifth trait, which is the result of your journey through life. You have a high trust threshold, born from pattern recognition. It is very likely that in the past, you were different. Maybe you were more open. Maybe you gave your heart away freely. Maybe you trusted easily. And it is very likely that you were burned. Perhaps it was a betrayal by a best friend. Perhaps it was a family member who let you down. Perhaps it was a group of people who turned on you. Psychology tells us that pain is the greatest teacher. Your brain analyzed those traumatic experiences and updated its software. You learn to recognize the patterns of toxic behavior. You learn that not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. You learn that access to your life is a privilege, not a right. Now, you have what psychologists call a high trust threshold. When you meet someone new, you do not let them into the inner sanctum of your life immediately. You observe. You wait. You test their character over time. You watch how they treat the waiter. You watch how they talk about their other friends. You look for consistency between their words and their actions. To the outside observer, this can look like you are being cold or guarded. They might say you have trust issues. But let's reframe that. You do not have trust issues. You have a security system. You are like a bank with a high-tech vault. You know there are treasures inside. Your loyalty, your love, your wisdom, your vulnerability. And you know that there are thieves outside. Why would you leave the door open? Having few friends is often the result of this rigorous vetting process. Most people do not pass the test. Most people are too inconsistent, too self-absorbed, or too judgmental to clear the bar you have set. And that is okay, because the few people who do make it through, the few people who earn your trust, those are the connections that will last a lifetime. You have traded the popularity of the crowd for the loyalty of the few. So, let's bring this all together. If you recognize yourself in these 5 traits, I want you to take a deep breath and let go of the shame. Let go of the voice in your head that says, you are weird. Let go of the pressure to fit in with a society that does not understand you. You are not a failed extrovert. You are a successful introvert. You are an elite loner who has chosen quality over quantity, truth over comfort, and independence over validation. The path you are walking is the path of the philosopher, the artist, the sage, and the visionary. History is filled with great minds who spent their lives in solitude. Tesla, Einstein, Newton. They did not spend their Friday nights gossiping at a bar. They spent their time connecting with the universe. Your solitude is not an empty space. It is a fertile ground. It is the soil in which your best ideas will grow. It is the sanctuary where your soul can heal. So, stop apologizing for who you are. Stop trying to force yourself into social situations that drain your spirit. Embrace your nature. Walk your path with your head held high. It is better to walk alone as a lion than to run with the sheep. If this message resonated with you, if you felt like I was speaking directly to your soul, then you are part of this rare tribe. You are not alone in spirit. There are others like you, scattered across the globe, sitting in silence, understanding exactly how you feel. I want you to verify this right now. Go to the comments section and simply write the phrase, I am complete. Let those 3 words be a signal to the universe and to yourself. Let's see how many of us are out there. And if you want to continue exploring the depths of your own psychology, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We do not do small talk here. We only do deep dives. Thank you for listening, and remember, your solitude is your power. Use it wisely.